Hello, I'm Dr. James Wilson. If you're over 60, chances are you've had your blood drawn, you've waited for the results, and somewhere near the top of the page, there's a small entry that carries a big weight. A1C. I've seen that single number make people proud, make them worried, and sometimes make them feel like they've failed. Today I want to sit with you as a calm, steady voice and tell you a simple truth. Your A1C is not a grade on your life. It's a snapshot of your biology, a hint about your habits, and a compass that helps us choose what matters most for your health right now. It is a guide, not a verdict. And after 60, the way we read that guide changes, because your needs, your risks, and your goals change too. My goal in the next few minutes is to make that number make sense, to help you understand what's reasonable for you, and to help you walk away with peace of mind and practical next steps. Think of A1C like the rings inside an old tree. Each ring holds a story about the season it came from, wet or dry, calm or windy. Your A1C tells the story of your last 2 to 3 months, not just a single day when your numbers looked good or terrible. When glucose circulates in your blood, a little of it sticks to the hemoglobin in your red blood cells. Over time, those red blood cells become a quiet journal of your average sugar levels. That's all A1C is, an average, a long view, a bigger picture. I start here because so many people come to me worried that one bad breakfast or one good walk will make or break their results. It doesn't. Your A1C remembers the whole season, not a single day's weather. Now, what do the usual ranges mean? Many people have learned the common categories. Under 5.7% is considered normal. 5.7% to 6.4% falls into prediabetes. 6.5% and above meets a definition of diabetes. But if you're over 60, I don't want you to stop at those 3 boxes. That's the dictionary. What you and I need is the conversation. The right target after 60 depends on how you're living, what other conditions you may have, how your kidneys are working, what your medications are, whether you live alone or with a partner, whether you're steady on your feet or prone to falls, whether you remember to take your pills easily or sometimes miss a dose. It's not just an age question, it's a whole person question. I find that when we start with the person instead of the number becomes far less frightening and far more useful. So let's make this personal in a comforting, practical way. Imagine 3 broad lanes on the road. In the first lane are folks who are independent, active, and managing their days with little help. They may garden, walk the dog, keep up with friends, and they can usually recognize the early whispers of low blood sugar, a little shakiness, a hint of dizziness, a sudden sweat. For them, it's often reasonable to aim for a lower A1C, perhaps under 7.5%, as long as doing so doesn't cause too many lows. In the second lane are people who carry more medical baggage, maybe heart disease, kidney troubles, nerve pain, or memory issues. They may need help with managing medications or getting to appointments. For them, a slightly more relaxed target, often under 8%, can be safer and kinder to the body. In the third lane are people in more fragile health, those in long-term care, with significant memory impairment, or with several complex illnesses where life is already heavy. In that lane, the goal is comfort and safety. Keep sugars high enough to avoid dangerous lows and symptoms, and don't chase a perfect number. Sometimes that means an A1C around 8.5% is entirely appropriate. None of these lanes are better or worse. They are different routes to the same destination, your well-being. Let's talk gently about lows, because they are the part of this story that can sneak up on us. Younger people often feel low blood sugar like an alarm bell, but with age, the alarm can become a soft chime you barely hear. A low can present as a foggy head, a dreamy confusion, a quick temper that isn't like you, a sudden heaviness in the legs, or a stumble that nearly turns into a fall. If your A1C is very low because you've been pushing too hard, you may be paying for that lower number with more risk than benefit. I've had patients show me a gleaming 6.2% and expect a handshake. But then they tell me about 2 falls this month, or a morning when they woke up on the kitchen floor, or a scare while driving because their vision smeared for a moment. That's not a win. That's a silent bargain we don't want you to make. After 60, we prize stability over perfection. We prize clarity over tightness. We prize the steady, safe rhythm that lets you live your life without fear of sudden dips. On the other hand, letting sugars run too high for too long can make you feel worn down in ways that are easy to miss. You may notice thirst that never seems to stop, blurry vision when the afternoon sun hits the window just so, a low-energy fatigue that makes the day feel longer than it is, or small wounds that take their sweet time healing. Sometimes there's a pattern of urinary tract infections, or a yeast infection that keeps circling back like a stray cat that remembers your porch. When A1C regularly stays above 9 or 10%, we often see those symptoms more often. The goal is not to scold or scare you. It is to remind you that feeling better day to day, clearer, lighter, steadier, tends to live in the middle space where we're not chasing the lowest possible number and we're not ignoring the body's signals. We want your days to feel smoother, not stricter. Because your body has its own story to tell, we also need to account for the other chapters. Kidney function matters because some medicines that lower blood sugar ask more of the kidneys than we'd like, and because kidney disease itself can nudge A1C readings a bit off course. Anemia can do the same, as can recent blood loss or transfusion. If you've noticed changes in your memory or if keeping track of pills is getting harder, that's not a failure. It's a signal that your plan needs to be simpler. If you've recently started steroids for a breathing flare or arthritis, you may see your sugars rise. That's the medicine talking, not a moral slip. And if you're taking a beta blocker for your heart, it may dull the symptoms of a low, which means we need to lean on gentle routines, steady meals, and medications that don't drop sugars suddenly. Medication names can feel like a jumble, so let me lay them out in plain language without the pressure of a test. Metformin is often the first tool we reach for. It doesn't cause lows, but we watch the kidneys to be sure it's safe. The older sulfonylureas can pull sugars down quickly and sometimes too far. If you've had a scare with low blood sugar, we think carefully about whether those are right for you. Newer options like DPP-4 inhibitors tend to be quiet helpers. They're gentle, they usually don't cause lows, and they can fit well in the lives of older adults. GLP-1 medicines can help with appetite and weight, and some people find they feel fuller and eat more thoughtfully with them. Others notice nausea at first and we adjust slowly. SGLT2 medicines help the kidneys spill a little sugar into the urine and can support heart and kidney health, but they may raise the chance of urinary infections, so we weigh pros and cons together. Insulin is a powerful, precise tool, not a punishment, not a last resort. Simply one of the most adjustable ways to match your unique needs. When we use insulin after 60, we design the schedule to be as simple and safe as possible, with doses that respect your meals, your sleep, and your routines. What about checking sugars? The A1C is your long-term lens, but your meter or continuous glucose monitor, CGM, is the day-to-day mirror. If you're on medicines that can cause lows, it helps to peek at that mirror more often, especially before driving, before a long walk, and any time your body feels odd or out of focus. If you take medicines that don't cause lows, you may not need to check as often. And that's fine. We match the plan to your situation. CGMS can be freeing for many older adults, especially if you or a loved one worries about overnight lows. They can whisper a gentle alarm when sugars drift too far down or too high up, and they collect a pattern that helps us make smart adjustments without guessing. If technology feels overwhelming, I promise you're not alone. The learning curve can be smoothed with a friend, a caregiver, or a nurse educator at your side. The goal is not to make you a technician, it's to give you peace of mind. So let's say your A1C is 8.2% today, and you're wondering what to do. Before we chase numbers, I want to understand your week. Are you eating regularly, or is lunch sometimes a cup of tea and a biscuit because you're not hungry? Do you keep protein in your meals, or are carbs sneaking in alone like toast without eggs, pasta without chicken, fruit without yogurt? Do you walk after dinner, even for 10 minutes? Or do you sit and settle because the evening is when your joints ache most? Do your medicines line up with your meals? Or do they ask you to follow a timetable that no longer fits your life? I ask these questions because small, steady changes often pull that A1C into a safer, kinder range without the side effects of more aggressive medication. 10 minutes of movement after a meal is not a slogan. It's a quiet, measurable effect on how your body handles that sugar. A little protein at breakfast is not a lecture. It's your body's way of using fuel slowly, keeping sugar steady, making you feel satisfied longer. There's also the simple human truth of aging. Appetites change, taste buds mellow, dentures don't love crisp apples like they used to, and cooking for one doesn't call the same joy to the kitchen as cooking for a family once did. If meals have become an afterthought, I don't want you to feel guilty. I want you to feel supported. Sometimes the solution is as small as keeping Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, a rotisserie chicken, or pre-cut vegetables at eye level in the fridge so that healthy doesn't mean hard. Sometimes it's swapping a big late dinner for 2 smaller meals that don't spike sugar so high and don't sit in your stomach like a stone at bedtime. Sometimes it's as humble as a glass of water in the late morning so thirst doesn't masquerade as hunger. These are not tricks. They are the wisdom of listening to a body that has walked many miles and asking it kindly what would feel better today. If you live alone or manage your own medications, I want to build you a plan that would work even on your most distracted day. Pill boxes with simple morning-evening splits, reminder alarms on your phone, pharmacy blister packs that separate doses by day. These are quiet helpers that prevent dips and spikes simply by keeping your routine steady. If memory has become more slippery, a simplified regimen, fewer doses, fewer moving parts, can be the difference between feeling stable and feeling like your health runs you. And if a partner or adult child worries about your sugars, sharing data from a CGM can bring reassurance to both of you. This is not about surveillance or scolding. It's about letting the people who love you be part of your safety net. Now let me rewrite the old rule many of you were given in your 40s or 50s. The old rule said, lower is better. The kinder rule says, safer is better. Safer might be 7.3% for you, and 7.9% for your friend, and 8.4% for your neighbor who lives in assisted living and enjoys bingo on Thursdays. Safer means fewer lows, fewer emergency trips, fewer scary moments while shopping or driving. Safer means you wake up most mornings feeling clear instead of wobbly. Safer means the plan respects your kidneys, your heart, your balance, your sleep. When we pick a target together, we're not picking a trophy to chase. We're setting a speed limit that keeps you on the road you want to travel. People often ask me, how long will it take to see a change? The body answers slowly and honestly. Because A1C reflects about 3 months, the number takes time to move, but your daily life can feel different sooner. A week of steadier meals and gentle walks can make your afternoons feel less foggy. 2 weeks of aligning medicines with meals can make that late-night snack less tempting. A month of trimming evening sugars can calm those 2 a.m. bathroom trips. So we watch how you feel as much as what the lab says. The lab is the map. Your day-to-day is the journey. I also want to say a word about pride and patience. Many older adults tell me they used to be good about their sugars, and they feel embarrassed now that numbers have drifted up. Please hear this with the kindness I intend. You did not cause your age. Bodies change, muscles soften, hormones shift, sleep fragments, and medicines for other conditions tug on your glucose in the background. The goal isn't to rewind. The goal is to adapt with grace. If that means we raise your A1C target in order to keep you stable, that is not surrender, it is wisdom. If that means we let go of a medication that makes you anxious because you fear a low, that is not failure, it is safety. If that means we start a new medicine because your heart or kidneys will thank you, that is not punishment. It is protection. Let me offer a gentle picture of what good control after 60 can look like. You eat breakfast within an hour or so of waking up, and there's something with protein on the plate. Your morning medicine routine fits into that breakfast, not as a separate chore that steals your attention. You move a little after you eat, not because you have to, but because you notice your legs feel better when you do. You keep your meter or CGM nearby enough that checking doesn't feel like a production. Lunch isn't skipped, but it isn't heavy. It's simple and satisfying. In the afternoon, you drink water as a habit, not a fix. Dinner is earlier than it used to be, and you pause to ask, do I want this much? If you take insulin, the dose is calm and predictable. If you don't, your medicines don't ambush you with sudden lows. You go to bed without fear of the nighttime. You wake up without the skull-thick fog that used to be your morning companion. Your A1C moves slowly, toward a number that matches this gentle rhythm. That's success. There are times when we need to change course quickly. If sugars run very high for a stretch, if an infection keeps coming back, if vision blurs often, if weight drops without trying, or if you have repeated episodes of low blood sugar that you don't feel coming on. When any of those things happen, your plan deserves a visit. Not later, but now. Sometimes the change is as simple as adjusting timing. Sometimes it's a new medicine that protects your heart or kidneys. Sometimes it's stopping a medicine that no longer treats you kindly. And sometimes it's inviting a diabetes educator into your circle so that you have a trainer, a coach, a translator for all the little choices that add up to your daily life. If you're wondering whether technology is for you, especially CGMS, think of it like this. A CGM is not asking you to become a technician, it's offering a window. For some people, that window eases anxiety because they no longer have to wonder where their numbers are drifting. For others, it can create information overload, and that's okay. We can try, we can learn, and we can decide together whether it's helpful. Medicare and insurance rules can be a maze, but more and more older adults do qualify, especially if insulin is part of their routine. If needles have ever made you hesitant, know that CGM sensors are designed to be as gentle as possible, and the process becomes second nature quickly. What about the appointment itself? The moment when you sit across from a clinician and talk about your A1C. I encourage you to bring your story, not just your number. Tell me the meals that work and the ones that don't. Tell me about the night you woke up shaky. Tell me about the wedding where you enjoyed the cake and feared the consequence. Tell me about the neighbor who brings over soup and the week you forgot to defrost anything. The more I know about your real life, the better I can shape a plan that doesn't fight it. Ask me to write down your personal target, not just the generic range, and ask me why that target is right for you. Ask me what signs should make you call sooner rather than later. Ask me how your heart, kidneys, nerves, eyes, and feet all fit into the bigger picture. This is your care. The plan should feel like it belongs to you. If you've been told in the past that you must hit a certain number, I want to free you from that pressure. You deserve a target that respects your age, your risks, and your wishes. If you love long walks and feel every low on the horizon, we can sit comfortably with a lower A1C as long as you feel well. If you've had falls or confusion, we raise the target with confidence and shift your medicines to ones less likely to drop you. If you live for Sunday dinners with family and don't want to spend those moments calculating every bite, we plan ahead so you can enjoy the meal and stay stable afterward. If you are caring for a partner or a friend, and your own meals have become irregular, we simplify the routine so that your health doesn't become another burden on a full heart. At this point, you may be wondering what to do tomorrow morning. Start with what's kind and doable. Eat something with protein for breakfast. Yogurt, eggs, a small portion of cottage cheese with fruit, a slice of whole grain toast with peanut butter. And notice how you feel until lunch. Walk for 10 minutes after your largest meal and notice your energy as the afternoon goes on. Keep a small, clear list of your medicines handy and check it with your clinician to be sure it still fits. If you've had even one episode of confusing low blood sugar, carry a simple source of fast sugar, glucose tablets or hard candies, and teach someone you love how to help if you seem off. If your next A1C is a little higher or lower than you hoped, ask why with curiosity, not blame. Then let's adjust gently and try again. I want to end where we started, with your number and your story. A 1C after 60 is about wisdom, about choosing a path that offers safety, clarity, and joy. A lower number isn't always kinder. A higher number isn't always reckless. The right number is the one that gives you steady days and peaceful nights, that protects your brain and your balance, that honors your kidneys and heart, and that lets you keep doing what you love with the people who love you. Your body has carried you far. It deserves care that listens, adapts, and stays by your side. If this conversation helped the A1C puzzle feel a little less tangled, I'm glad. If it raised questions, bring them to your next appointment and ask for answers tailored to you. If you'd like more calm, practical guidance like this, you're welcome here. This channel is for you. Together, we'll keep translating medical language into everyday understanding. We'll keep trading fear for confidence, and we'll keep choosing health plans that fit your life instead of bending your life to fit a plan. I'm rooting for you every step of the way.